I know in the last video, I told you guys to temper your expectations for Final Fantasy VII Rebirth in Riyadh, the event that they had going on. But surprisingly, we actually have Hamaguchi hyping fans up even more than I thought he would. Making some pretty strong claims about the next installment. They talk minor gameplay elements as well as exciting things to come. We didn't get any talks about DLC or a PC version. Let's get that out of the way. But remember, I strongly believe that is something that will be coming in December during the Video Game Awards, as FF7 Rebirth is a very strong candidate for Game of the Year, at the very least, many awards. The full event is posted right now on our channel down below and timestamped if you guys want to go ahead and check out our commentary with it. And also hit that subscribe button and notification bell so you don't miss out on any other updates. It seems like they're going to be talking about a lot of stuff in the coming weeks. Help rate's at 38%, even higher. And now let's get into this video. Hamaguchi confidently stated that they're going to be making the third installment of FF7 Remake something that beats any expectations you may already have, and that he is absolutely confident, these are his exact words, that he's absolutely confident that the third game in the Remake series will be one of the most loved and most popular games in the history of video games once again. A huge statement of hype and confidence being exhibited at the highest level. FF7 is arguably one of the greatest games of all time. I wouldn't even say arguably, it is one of the greatest games of all time. Very iconic in so many ways. The game is constantly used as a reference and a lot of other media as well. And for them to make this statement is kind of crazy. So we'll have to wait and see on that. While my confidence levels are pretty high and I have the absolute utmost faith in these developers to do exactly that, it's still kind of crazy to see Hamaguchi say something like that. And to be honest, in the story portions of where they are currently of the game, majority of the wild stuff comes in the third part of the game. We have the High Wind and Northern Crater huge reveals, the weapons, huge materia, Wutai, which has been further enhanced and built up more compared to the original game, underwater traveling, the medial moments, the live stream, along so much more, man. There's a staggering amount of large-scale events that we're going to be witnessing in the third part. So, of course, they're going to have to go big or go home. And there's another statement within the Q&A portion that gives us the idea of just how crazy things are getting with the world map and such. Hamaguchi gave us insights on things relating to the High Wind and the fact that snowboarding will be actually in this game and featured even more so. I could totally see it being a solid means of travel for the northern region, and seemingly how we roam around chocobo lists, because I don't think, you know, we'll get a chocobo for that region. Maybe we will, maybe we won't. And these will be key elements at the core of the third game. Depending on how they do the region, if there's lots of hills and locations above them, I wonder if they would consider modifying the snowboard to feature a propulsion system to help us go uphill, making traveling on it a less of a downhill focus. I mean, Chadley exists and Shinra engineering is a thing, right? So that's not something that's out of the ordinary, I don't think. The High Wind is going to be expanded further. The way that we're traveling, obviously, it's essential that it's going to be in the third game. And there's no option, obviously, to remove it from the game. So the key component and element that they're focusing on this time is how they take the High Wind and incorporate it into this game, while making it something actively fun to do in the game. They're currently prototyping the High Wind as we speak, and it's reached an incredible level within development and testing right now. And aside from just traveling around the world in the High Wind, there's actually another aspect of gameplay that we'll be able to access from it directly and do something special while we are riding around it. What do you guys think it could be? Chocobo breeding, multiplayer, Queen's Blood, a bigger VR system with co-op multiplayer? Let me stop projecting right there. But Hamaguchi says the High Wind and its capabilities are something he wishes he could just tell us about right now, and it's eating away at him, but he can't spoil it. He can't spoil it because it's huge. Kitase then talks about how Hamaguchi already blew his mind at how the world map would function within Rebirth. He didn't realize the scale was going to be in that way. That he promises that when we finally get to see what the High Wind can do in regards to world travel in part 3, it will absolutely blow all of our expectations away even further, based on what he has seen so far of what Hamaguchi and the team is currently working on. Bro, the hype that they are pushing out with this are at insane levels right now. I mean, it's normally like right here or maybe right here. Yo, this shit is like way off at the top of the camera at the moment. I've never seen Hamaguchi and Kitase talk their talk like this. I've been covering their interviews and reading their stuff for like 4 years now. I've never seen it before. This is like a crazy amount of confidence. I mean, that promotion and The Game of the Year nods, maybe it's pushing them to a different level. Maybe the translator took some extra liberties. I don't know. I mean, they rehearse these things usually, so I don't think he would do that. But you can't help but wonder, man, like where is this all coming from? This is kind of wild, and I'm way more excited now. I can't wait to see what they got planned. They then continue on with teases for the third game, this time by talking about Tifa, which throughout the entire showcase, they mentioned this multiple times that while they were visiting the Middle East their entire stay, every single person they interacted with expressed how much they love Tifa and that entire region. They feel like they met Tifa's biggest fans, and so many of them are present in there. They were all asked if Tifa will be able to suplex enemies in part 3, which they laughed and stated that they can't guarantee that she will, but they'll look into it. But also, we'll be seeing a lot more of Tifa in this one. And then they mentioned that Sid and Vincent as well will be focuses, as they will have synergy attacks and abilities, be fully playable and stuff alongside Tifa and the rest of the cast. Also, there's a completely new game system that they can't wait for us to see, and how Tifa will interact with that element too, which is kind of specific. For those that do know what happened in the story, this is actually a given. There is a portion of the story where Tifa is the main party leader for a little bit, and it seems that they're going to be obviously doing that, making that a thing as the focus for part 3. I do wonder if the Wutai portion of the story will have us in control of Tifa there too, and we'll probably be visiting there multiple times. But they have to, come on, man, they have to make her suplex enemies. I mean, that's part of her limit break. This way we could see her hilariously lift up and drop bigger enemies or character models. I can see the compilations already at this point. It's going to be a YouTube masterpiece. Now, spoiler alert for Rebirth's ending if you guys have not gotten there, or even the OG game, guys, okay? So just, you know, warning. But they talked about the Forgotten Capital and how they aim to recreate the scene of losing Aerith in a modern way. That they wanted to show in the original game was the feeling of loss and grief when you lose someone dear to you. However, like in Rebirth, they changed the scene to focus more so on the aspect of Cloud and how he mentally cannot cope with these feelings, and instead is just masking the trauma instead of dealing with it. He couldn't let his feelings go towards the people that he loved and lost. This scene in Rebirth can be interpreted in many different ways, and they aimed for everyone to come out with a slightly different view of what went on, which he's not lying. For months, even now, myself, Maximilian Dude, SleepyZ, Baby Seal, Night Sky Prince, as well as many other content creators theorize on just what is happening in Rebirth, and we all don't agree on one single point. There's so many different ways that you could interpret it, really. But it's a huge gamble. How will this pay off in part 3? We have no idea, man. It is absolutely a big risk they're taking with this, and ultimately, whatever they have planned for this, it really needs to hit it home. And I feel like they wouldn't have made this decision if they weren't confident in their skills and abilities to do so. Kitase then mentions that the story of FF7 was so amazing and resonated with people so much that they didn't want to change that feeling of the story overall, and state that it will stay as close to the OG as it can, but also adding that extra detail and creating new experiences that fit in and add on to that, further enhancing the overall arcing story behind it. From simple new interactions with people in new towns to the ending and climax of Aerith's faith and how we perceive it, Kitase finishes off by saying, if you want to know what happens with Aerith's fate, you're gonna have to play the third game to find that out. So obviously part 3 is gonna be revealing a lot more details for us and missing pieces that some of us just aren't seeing, myself included. When talking about Sephiroth, he states that Sephiroth doesn't view what he is doing as evil. He actually has a big destiny in which he's trying to change the world and make it a better place, which he calls the Promised Land. This is obviously different from what Cloud and his friends want with their happy ending. All of these characters have different ideals of where they think the world should be and how things should change. The conflict is clear in Remake, and the idea of multiple possibilities and worlds that could happen are there, but that'll become clear later on. Truthfully, Sephiroth in Remake has always given off this vibe to me. He obviously knows that his plans in the original game were foiled, and this Sephiroth is seemingly going about things in a different way, I guess, or at least taking a different approach this time around. I honestly didn't think he would kill Aerith. I feel like he would be aware that within her death and being able to interact with and manipulate the live stream, she would in turn foil his plans again. But it seems that he has a trump card this time around, and I want to know what this could be. Maybe he's hinging heavily on bringing Cloud down more before her. And this also could involve Tifa as well once we control her a little bit more. So I do wonder what Sephiroth has planned, because so far he's going about things in the exact way that led him to fail last time, basically. And Hamaguchi said they're going to be tweaking things about Queen's Blood as well to spice up the gameplay more, so it's got a more revamped style in the new game and has differences from Rebirth. I wonder if they're going to be adding in multiplayer, or will we have more lanes to work with, different card combinations? The system itself was already really good and addicting, so I'm hoping we get more flexibility too if they try to add on to it. In addition to that, please make Fort Condor a worldwide thing as well within the game and not just the Proto Relic quest. I loved Fort Condor in the Yuffie's DLC, but being able to play people around the world, I think would be an awesome experience and just further enhance that aspect of the game. I know we're going to be visiting Fort Condor finally in the third game, so one can only imagine or hope that will be the case. Man, I gotta say, I appreciate the devs for taking the time to actually talk about this stuff and do it. It's still very early in development for the game to be dropping. I mean, we're thinking like, what, within the next 3 years or so. But for them to give us details on what to expect with Tifa's party lead moments, talking about character synergy between Cid and Vincent, not to mention the world traveling and how the High Wind has reached a tremendous moment in development that they can't wait to show us. It's all exciting, man. It's all exciting hearing this stuff. I mean, it only makes sense since they've been working alongside Rebirth with Part 3. Its development has been going on for a little bit. As I stated, over a year before Rebirth came out. And it's been about 6 months already since Rebirth launched, if you look at it technically. All they have left to do is make a strong showing at the Video Game Awards. And I think that we'll be hearing then about any PC versions, PS5 Pro versions, and possible DLC mentions. I'm curious to hear what you guys think. Let me know in the comments below. Let's get a discussion going. There's a lot to talk about in this right here. Special shout outs to Shinra Art Department on Twitter. They also recapped all of the very important moments. I'm going to be linking their Twitter down below. You can go through and check their tweets as well. And they also timestamped in the videos of where these moments took place. So shout outs to them. GG's, I really appreciate it. Be sure to like the video if you enjoyed and subscribe if you are new. It feels good to be making FF7 videos again and you don't want to miss them. My name is Blitz and thanks for watching.